that's when the transition started happening. The unification of Germany was about 86. And our job was, as military policemen, we were tower rats. We guarded a base with 3 bunkers on it that had 33 warheads in each bunker. Warheads that were about, they would put them on top of the Nike missile, and they had the atomic capability of like the Nagasaki bomb. There were 33 of those in each of these 3 bunkers, so we had 99. We were right across the Fulda Gap from Fulda Gap was a natural border between East and West Germany. And so and it's just like a canyon. But they had the East German army, the basically communist army, had their T-72 tanks, a battalion of them that we would stare at every day. And we'd have those Christmas Day, World War I armistice things where you come out and we'd put gifts out in the middle of the canyon. They would come get them and they would do the same thing. Then every other day we were all like, hey, fuck you, to those, because they were the enemies. It was mutually assured destruction. Go ahead and shoot your howitzers at us and your tanks and everything like that, because you're going to blow up the entire world if you do.
Welcome to Shaping the Basin. I am here with Darrell Burkhardt. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. You are part of our America 250, the Voices of Service. And I know we invited you and your son because you guys just finished a deployment together.
Yes, ma'am.
That's rare, isn't it?
It's very rare. It was pointed out to us all along the way, from when we were stepping off, when he was in basic training and everything like that. That's why he went to basic training, so he could be on this deployment. And our battalion leadership, all the way up to the state leadership and the tag, the adjutant general, made a note of it and said that this is something we have to promote. It's good for recruiting and retention. It was good for me. It's good. I've been on a lot of deployments, and this was the first one where I actually had a family member over there. So we bonded in ways that other soldiers didn't have an opportunity to do. You know, I miss my family. Oh, well, yours doesn't live right down the street. So
Yeah.
that was a really nice thing, because all the other deployments, of course, we were away from each other and stuff. So, but he got to experience it firsthand. We did some special missions together. We weren't directly attached to each other because I was his first sergeant. So, we had some, I guess, some rank gaps in between us and stuff like that, but we got to work together a lot. We got to work out together, have dinner together, and do all that kind of stuff almost every day.
Yeah. Are you able to tell us where you were deployed?
Yeah, we were on the Sinai Peninsula, eastern Egypt, right on the Rafa border between Israel and Egypt. They call it the Rafa border. Um, we were where our camp was. They called it North Camp. U.S. Bat 74, part of the multi-force organization that's over there, which is 15 different countries. It's upholding a treaty that was established by Jimmy Carter, Menachem Begin, and Anwar Sadat in 1979. And so they've had a multinational force in place over there for 40 some years. And the day we got over there, the day we arrived at South Camp to start our indoc, was the day Jimmy Carter died. And so we were seeing his image all over, and they have it there all the time anyway. And so that got a little heated over there, because they have different rules. When if there's a deal, and the deal makers, they honor that deal until all the deal makers are dead. And so that created a little bit of a stir, I guess. And plus we had the whole Palestine-Israel thing going on, which we had front row seats to every night. We tended to the refugees from time to time. We would airlift water blivots. Those were some of the operations that we did that we weren't technically officially involved in, but we did it anyway. And so that was part of the missions that I would take Josh on. We called it, they were DART missions, down to aircraft rescue missions. and it's for that specifically. When we had a whole helicopter wing there from 101st Airborne out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and we would do sustainment missions with them, sling loading stuff, doing uh, air assault missions, rapid deployment type stuff, just training.
Mhm.
But when it came out, we'd have a real world mission. We would airlift water blivots, supplies, and everything like that to the refugees at the Rafa border. We were only a click and a half, 1,500 meters away from that border. So we would see the Israeli rockets and the Palestinian drones every night. It was like a light show. So we were front row seats to that war that was going on over there. And then we would tend to the refugees and stuff, aid, just airborne missions where we would sling loading is basically you attach a cargo net to the bottom of a helicopter or a big water blivet, and they airlift it up and then take it over and drop it somewhere.
Mhm.
Those locations I can't give out, but that was our mission over there.
Mhm.
Security for North Camp. There's two camps over there, South Camp, which is right down on the Red Sea, and North Camp, which is right up on the Israeli border. And we were at North Camp, Delta Company was. And that's what Josh and I got to do. That was the operation over there. So it was low key. We didn't The only time we ever really went on high alert was when we were doing one of those recovery missions or something like that, or when the bombing got really intense.
Mhm.
It was nice.
Yeah. And this was his first deployment?
Yes, ma'am.
And how many have you done?
That was my sixth.
Yeah.
And they go all the way back. I am the ender of wars. So straight out of high school, 1984, 17 years old, went to basic training in Fort McClellan, Alabama in the U.S. Army and I went to MP school. And then after MP school, went to the 507th Airborne Training Brigade, went to jump school at Fort Benning. Fast forward 40 years later, my son is at Fort Benning graduating from infantry school. I got to put his blue cord on and everything like that, and got to stand by the towers, the jump towers and everything like that. It was really neat. And then after that, after I got go back in time now, jump on those telluric currents and go back in time. I came home for a little while after jump school, went straight over to Germany, West Germany at the time. There were still two Germanys when I,
Mhm.
and was with the 61st MP company for a little while, Third Armor Division. And that's when the transition started happening. The unification of Germany was about 86.
Mhm.
And our job was, as military policemen, we were tower rats. We guarded a base with 3 bunkers on it that had 33 warheads in each bunker. Warheads that were about they would put them on top of the Nike missile, and they had the atomic capability of like the Nagasaki bomb. There were 33 of those in each of these 3 bunkers, so we had 99. We were right across the Fulda Gap from Fulda Gap was a natural border between East and West Germany. And so and it's just like a canyon. But they had the East German army, the basically communist army, had their T-72 tanks, a battalion of them that we would stare at every day. And we'd have those Christmas Day, World War I armistice things where you come out and we'd put gifts out in the middle of the canyon. They would come get them and they would do the same thing. Then every other day we were all like, hey, fuck you, to those, because for the enemies, it was mutually assured destruction. Go ahead and shoot your howitzers at us and your tanks and everything like that, because you're going to blow up the entire world if you do. And then fast forward, they basically shut that site down when the unification started happening. I got moved to Fifth Corps and then subsequently moved to the Berlin Brigade. While the Berlin Wall was still standing and Checkpoint Charlie was still active, there was still a division between the two countries. They hadn't unified yet. So I actually served a combat deployment at Checkpoint Charlie on the Berlin Wall. So that's how far back I go. And I was active duty Army for about, a little over 5 years. Came home, went down to Hollywood, being a rock star and doing all that kind of stuff. Grew my hair down to here and all that stuff. And then, a couple of years after that, um, we have our first child, moved back to Klamath Falls. 9/11 happens, pisses me off. I let it stew for about 6 years and went back in the Oregon Army National Guard in, about 2007, and, and then had the first deployment. And, you know, I'm thinking Oregon Army National Guard is gonna be low key, you're gonna be home with the family and stuff like that. The Willamette River floods, I'll go fill sandbags like in the commercials and stuff like that. No, you're going to Iraq.
Oh
So,
gosh.
okay. Travel the world in the Oregon Army National Guard. Go to Iraq, come back from that deployment, go to Afghanistan right after that, come back from Afghanistan. That's where I was sniper section, came home from Afghanistan, went to Africa the first time, then Africa again after that, and then went to after Africa, after we came home from Africa that time, that's when we did the whole January 6th Washington D.C. deployment, which was strange. But and then come home from that, um, go to then we went on this deployment, go
Mhm.
get Josh in, everything like that, went through all of his issues and things that he did, and went on this deployment. And so that's why they in within Delta Company, the 186, they call me the ender of wars, because ended the Cold War in Germany back in the day, ended the war in Afghanistan, Operation Enduring Freedom, because well, I wasn't technically over there for the very end of that when all the mess in Kabul and all that stuff, but you know, I leave, the war ends, and so and then the last one was the best one because I was right in the middle of the Israel-Palestine war. That ended when I left. So
They just need to send you everywhere, Daryl.
yeah. Um,
That's awesome.
and that's it's been a very interesting ride. Lots of medals and promotions and everything along the way, but my proudest moments were on this last deployment, seeing Josh step up as a leader, seeing him get his awards, his promotions, and it's still going on to this day. Um, he's going to a real coveted school in the Army. He's going to jungle school in September in Hawaii. You know, that's terrible.
Dang.
I have to go to Hawaii. Um, we'll be going to air assault school together. I'll definitely be the oldest guy to ever go to air assault. We'll be going together next fall. It's fall of 27. And that brings us up to now. In fact, a little past now, if you look at it that way.
Yeah. Is it unusual for somebody in the Oregon Air National Guard to be deployed as often as you have?
Well, it, it would seem like that.
Mhm.
If you look at the brochure, 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks in the summer, stay in your community, and all that kind of stuff. If you think about that, but what they discovered with the global war on terror, we call it GWAT, and subsequently that's how I'll refer to it, the GWAT. Um, they discovered that the federal government saves money by deploying the National Guard.
Mhm.
Throughout the 21, 22 years of global war on terror, National Guard soldiers and reserve deployed 4 soldiers to every one active duty soldier that deployed, because the state picks up half the bill, the state that
Mm.
they're from. So and you know, it makes us feel a little bit expendable in the guards, like, oh, we're cheap labor and stuff like that. But we get trained up the same way. Our we have to do these accelerated, condensed Cliff Notes train ups that we call pre-mobilization. So we have to go there and get all current on all the new tactics, techniques, and procedures. We'll go to places like Fort Bliss or Fort Stewart, Georgia, the bigger posts, and have about a month long ratchet up to
Mhm.
the deployment cycle. We call it on ramping, or like I said, pre-mob, and then they'll send us over, and we do all the same things. We're on Title 10 orders, and it's all we mix with the active duty guys all the time. We work with special forces, ranger battalions, big units like 101st Airborne.
Mhm.
I've worked with many times 82nd Airborne, and then you know, we come home and then we're back to this status. And the National Guard, er, er, all the states in the union have them, but Oregon, Texas, Michigan, California were the big suppliers of these expendable National Guard troops to the global war on terror. And that's just it worked out economically for the Dick Cheneys of the world and everything like that. They were the huge benefactors of and the beneficiaries of the global war on terror. It was a big financial boon for all of them, kind of like Mr. LeSueur that we were talking to earlier. I, they're pushing U.S. equipment off of those carriers, post Saigon, Hanoi, and everything like that, post Vietnam War, and that's how we get new stuff in the Army. We use up the old stuff, and this ties into our whole JFK discussion, but Bell helicopters was a big reason the Vietnam War went on for so long.
Mhm.
And so the Dick Cheneys of the world, with all of his funding and everything like that through his private organizations that he did for the global war on terror, they took lessons learned from the Vietnam War. If we get rid of this old equipment, we can just push in all this new stuff, all the new stuff built by our friend down the street at United Nuclear Technology. They do use that stuff now.
Yeah.
The discombobulator they just used in Venezuela is microwave technology. It's the Brown frequency, 6 hertz. Google it.
It's easy to get lost. Don't know which path to take, what to post. In the social media jungle, video is king. Your kids are obsessed, your customers are addicted, we're all hooked, and social media sites prioritize videos. So when you're ready to stand out from the crowd, reach out to 40 Deuce Films. Feeling over everything.
Obviously, equipment would have changed in all that time that you've been
Absolutely.
in, but what are some of the other changes
Um,
you've seen over your
well,
career?
I'll be blunt. It's with females coming into the combat arms. That has been a huge paradigm shift for everybody, even new soldiers, because we speak very frankly. I mean, there's nowhere you go, and especially in the infantry, where it's not locker room talk 24/7. And so we've had to shore that up. We had to change that. But it's nothing I guess if you're behind the scenes, if you're a fly on the wall or whatever you want to call it, um, they'll get into it as much as we do. The females they get to talking like that too, because it's just how we communicate with each other, all the way from graphic sense of humor to jokes and things like that would seem out of line to the outside observer, and that's where we get in trouble, is if outside observers hear this kind of talk. That has been the biggest paradigm shift, though, is the integration of females, and not just females, but the entire LGBTQ community as well. We have briefings on that every month as the resiliency NCO for my unit. I have to stay current on all those policies and everything like that. We have to give classes on it, and it's necessary,
Mhm.
because we're insensitive people. As time, we have to be. You have to be. You're gonna see your brother get injured. You're gonna see your brother or sister get killed. You're gonna witness that firsthand. You're gonna get shot yourself.
Mhm.
And you have to develop a sense of humor as a buffer to that, so that you don't bring that stuff home with you at the end of a deployment.
Mhm.
Those ghosts, those skeletons, they will stay with you all the time. I I I myself, I'll uh, uh, I I have I've killed people. I've killed human beings. And so I have those ghosts, they haunt me. And so I have to have a way to deal with that. And one of the ways we deal with that in the infantry and the sniper community all together is a sense of humor, and to have a sense of humor about it. And it's hard to, but when you get around your buddies and they'll, oh, are you PTSDing out? Did you catch PSD? That's the big thing. Like it's some viral thing. I caught PTSD in the stand. And and we deal with it and we process it that way. We have these open forums where we get together and we talk about it, and we talk very, very frankly about it. It's strange to hear somebody laugh about their leg getting blown off or something like that, or watching their buddy die. But that's laughter is the best medicine. There's no medicine in a gunfight. There's none. You get shot, you get killed, you get your buddy aid, or whatever happens. The only medicine, post is laughter, humor. And that's opening up about it, getting it out in the air, accepting it, and dealing with it. It's hard to do for some people. It's hard to do for everybody.
Yeah.
But that's the only way you can process and deal with that stuff. And I have to deal with that all the time as a resiliency NCO and also as a regional casualty affairs officer, casualty notifications officer. I'm the guy that's going to show up at your door with a flag. And it's not pleasant, but it's something you have to do. And you have to, okay. And you have to, that's something that I've had to deal with. And I have to not only process my own reflections and skeletons and ghosts and everything like that, but now with that element of my military career, I have to help other people deal with it directly, not just hear the stories sitting in the circle with other veterans, knocking back a few Coca-Colas. I've got to go talk to the families and arrange their benefits and everything like that, and see them multiple times, whether it be at the funeral or at the signing for their benefits and that's difficult, but it helps me process my own everything like that. And maybe, that was a big deal with myself and my son was, I don't ever want to have to do that for my son, but if I have to, he's here with me. He might have to do it for me.
Right.
That's always something we have to look at and address. And with the amount of soldiers, airmen, sailors, and Marines that are deployed through the global war on terror, it's gone exponential. Not just the casualty aspect of it, but the PTSD, the long-term effects on that. It's manifested itself in a lot of different ways over the years. And when you talk about changes that I've seen, that's the big one, I think, is the identification of that, what that is, what that means. We didn't know what to call it in World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea. They did not know what to call that. Those shadows that would haunt those soldiers and sailors, airmen, Marines that would come back from those wars, they were just shell shocked. We use words like that, fog of war. But now you can see those incidents register and manifest a lot like a TBI would. It's literally, if you looked at somebody's scan, a CAT scan of somebody's brain, you'll see these electromagnetic shadows, and a lot like somebody that had a TBI, traumatic brain injury, those PTSD moments, those moments that occur that bring on the onset of those haunts that come back to you later, those resonate like shadows in your brain, and they've identified that. And so my big thing with my resiliency briefings with soldiers that find themselves at the initial coil of that downward spiral that might lead to depression, anxiety, and God forbid suicide or something like that. The key is to get to identify where those shadows are just through talking, conversation, communication, and not have to go through to medical ends to treat it. I don't agree with a lot of the medicines and stuff they're prescribing with PTSD, because all they do, it's just a Band-Aid. It's just a numbing effect. It's a Novocaine, that'll get, including the ayahuascas and all that, the mushroom therapy stuff. I'm still out on that. It's a big thing in the veterans community. What's the other one? There's ayahuasca and
Psilocybin, the mushroom.
it's there's another name for it. It's a more ibogaine. Yes, ibogaine. But what that takes me back to is they tried that before, and it's called MK Ultra. If you know what that is, Men Who Stare at Goats. Lee Harvey Oswald was part of MK Ultra. How did the mushrooms treat him? And there's just a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm not real big on those kind of therapy. What gets me is a good mental attitude towards it, so a good physical fitness regime, and spirituality. Those are the three legs that a good, just a good presence, a public facing presence where you can talk about this stuff to other people. You see the people that think they have to hide it, and a lot of people do. It's just it's directly with your personality. It's hard to get people to open up about that. But going back to your original question, that has been the biggest paradigm shift that I've seen, because even when I was in the late 80s into the early 90s, they still didn't have a name for it.
Mhm.
They couldn't put a brand on what was going on with these people. They were coming home, getting divorced, falling victim to alcoholism, drugs. They were committing suicide, and nobody could figure it out.
Mhm.
But I think that's the one thing about sending soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines en masse over to war like we've done, and through the global war on terror, more individuals have seen war than ever before in the history of our country. And so that that huge, I guess, sample size has given us a reason to look into this, and that sample size has drawn out a lot of the experts on psychology and psychology of war, and they've been able to draw this out. This is post-traumatic stress,
Mhm.
is what it is, and some people deal with it in bad ways. They deal with alcohol. They deal with it with beating up their significant other. They deal with it with putting a gun to their head, which we don't want to see, but we're trying to find ways to deal with that, and thank God for the sample size that we have.
Yeah.
And that would be the biggest change that I've seen.
Yeah.
And we try and get out in front of that with, like I said, with the resiliency briefings. But with those resiliency briefings comes this new paradigm shift with, okay, we've got women that are going to be fighting alongside of us, and that's we've got we've got homosexuals, we've got people, they're going to be fighting alongside of us. We have to accept them. We have to learn how to talk to them, how to deal with them, how to be friends with them,
Yeah.
how to accept them. And we're learning that, and we're getting good at it. Because there's no, once you're in any of the military services, and there are incidents where everybody's green, nobody's black, nobody's white, nobody's brown, nobody's yellow. We're all green. Well, we all bleed the same red blood. We all breathe the same air.
Yeah.
And that's my pitch to everybody. So I don't I don't care who this person next to me sleeps with on their own time. Right now, I'm in a foxhole with them,
Mhm.
and I'm going to protect them. They're going to protect me. They're going to watch my six. I'm going to watch their six.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line to it all for me,
Mhm.
is once you've taken that step forward, it doesn't matter. Once somebody takes a step forward, that, like, your son is in the Air Force now, as I
Mhm.
understand it. I've seen the
Yes.
pictures on Facebook and stuff.
Yes.
Proud mama. I
Yes.
get it.
I am.
But he's got to accept this. He goes through these briefings and everything all the time. So, and it might seem forced to the the ingenue, the new person in there, but we have to deal with it.
Mhm.
We have to deal with it. We have to get out in front of it, because we don't want it to manifest on the battlefield,
Yeah.
because it will.
Mhm.
It's human nature. The biggest transition for us was the females. You know, because we had don't ask, don't tell type of policies in the past, and we've always kind of kept that behind us. But the biggest thing was the females, because it is human nature to protect the womb,
Mhm.
protect mama. So if you got a 12, 15 man squad, and there's a female in that squad, we are going to rally to that female no matter what happens. If she
Right.
gets shot, everybody's going to rally to that. We've got to put that away.
Mhm.
It may seem like chivalry to some people, but it's really not.
Right.
She picked up that rifle. She's coming out there with us. So what's between her legs doesn't matter anymore. What matters is she's a soldier. She's in the fight with us. Don't treat her any differently than anybody else, even if she
Yeah.
does get wounded,
Mhm.
because she's going to have to treat you too. So she's going to have to look at it that way. And that that is that's where the Army's at today,
Yeah.
is on the tip of that wave of starting to accept that stuff, and just accepting the fact that we're soldiers, we're sailors, we're airmen. We're not boys, we're not girls, we're not fags, we're not lesbians. We're
Mhm.
we're just soldiers,
Right.
And that may seem kind of harsh, but that's a fact.
Mhm.
When the bullets start flying, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
Sure.
If your battle buddy is wearing eyeliner and has a ponytail, I don't care. Can you patch me up?
Right.
Can you shoot back? I don't care.
Right. That
And I think that's how we all have to be.
mhm.
Even 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 back here, back home, we have to be like that, I
Sure.
think.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I we're like getting near the end of our time, and there's so much more I want to ask you. But I know when I reached out to you, one of the things you did want to share was um, kind of some, for lack of a better word, recruitment. This you're really proud of your service, and it's
Yes.
done a lot for your life. Do you want to talk a little bit about that before
Yes.
we end?
So, well, first and foremost, it's kept me out. I'm old, but being in the National Guard requires a little more a lot more self discipline than, say, an active duty soldier, because you're a soldier for 2 days out of the month. So you've got those other 28 days out of the month that you've got to stay on task. So you've got to stay in shape. You've got to be current with your training, whatever your training mechanism is. Weapon systems, communication equipment, medical stuff. You've got to stay current with that, because you do not have somebody watching over you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It takes an alarming amount of self-discipline, and that alone is a big thing for me, because I didn't really see that when I was a soldier, active duty. I would relax like a black belt. I was black belt. And- but now I'm in the National Guard. Your first couple of drills, you might, oh, this is going to be so easy. And it seems that way until, say, like a weapons qualification or a PT test comes up and you haven't been training for it.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, okay, that's a red flag. I'm gonna have to keep this in mind. And it instills a sense of discipline in you, all you young people out there, that, you it'll instill a sense of discipline that'll resonate in the rest of your life, whether it be study habits at school, habits at your civilian job, or anything like that. It'll get you into leadership roles real fast, because you come in, you're the lowest of low recruits. We call them an E-fuzz because you don't have any rank on you. There's no rank on you. And the minute you graduate from basic training, you get promoted. When you get to your unit, you're going to be in charge of 2 or 3 new guys. You're going to be a team leader in a squad. And so you get those leadership reps, and then you get sent to leadership schools. And civilian employers value that.
Yes.
They see that you've been trained in leadership. So we're going to move you up to assistant fry cook real I'm kidding, but they will. And so that's a big thing. You can get money for college.
Mhm.
You can get your entire college. It's the best scholarship in the world. You can, if you're not, eh, if you're not administratively qualified to go to college, you can work on that in the Army. You can get your GED. You can do all that kind of stuff, and then, on the back end, go to college. You can get certification equipment assistance,
Mhm.
which we lack in this country. In this county, even, you can go the Army will pay for you to go get certified as a welder,
Mhm.
certified as a physical trainer, like
Right.
they did for me, certified as a building inspector, certified as anything you want to do. The Army will pay for it, and while you're still in, and then you get the glory of every 4 or 5 years going over to some foreign country that you never thought you'd be able to go to.
Mhm.
Our we have an element of Delta Company that is actually, in a couple of weeks, going to Bangladesh for their annual training. It- Not exactly a tourist hotspot, but how many people get to go there?
Right.
While Josh and I were on deployment, we got to go to Cairo, see the pyramids. We got to go to Rome and see the Trevi Fountain and all the Da Vinci Code stuff.
Yeah.
And just because we were so close, we got 10 days leave, and we just flew across the Mediterranean, went over there. You can, I know it's a cliche, but you join the National Guard, you're going to get to see the world.
Yeah.
You literally are,
Mhm.
because they're going to send you, even if there's not a war going on, they're going to send you to places like Bangladesh, Oman, the UAE, Africa. They send you all over the world,
Yeah.
and it's a glorious thing. And it may not seem like that at first. There's a lot of push-ups, running and getting yelled at, pushing a mop around and stuff, and shooting a lot if you choose the combat arms. See a lot of blood if you're in the medical field. But it's a really good thing. There are a lot of benefits to it. You have a retirement plan that's just pre-programmed. No contribution necessary or anything like that. You get in National Guard, serve your country 2 weekends a month or 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks every summer, and you get paid to do it. It's a pretty healthy part-time job that I think even as a E3, Josh was pulling in about $700 a month for working 1 weekend a month.
Right.
He made bank on deployment
Mm-hmm.
because you get as an E4, I think you make about $50,000 a year tax free if you go overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
my Amazon record reflects that. I don't have to pay rent.
There you go.
But yeah, that's a big thing with recruitment and retention.
Yeah.
Self-discipline, leadership comes right away, education funding, travel, free clothes.
Mm-hmm. And you don't have to think about putting them together. They just
No, no,
there's
no.
stuff. Yeah.
That's
That's
all the
awesome.
good stuff.
That's
There's bad
awesome.
things, but they're few and far between.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your time today, and sad we're at the end because
Yeah.
I'm sure you have lots more stories.
Sad
But
we're missing one.
I know we did plan to have Josh here with you,
Yes.
and he got stuck at work.
Specialist Josh Burkhardt.
We'll
You're
have
not
to
here.
we'll have to try to bring him on. That'd be
Yes.
fun and hear his side of being
Oh, yeah.
deployed with
I'm
Dad.
sure it's exactly the same.
I'm sure. That's funny. Well, some questions I've just asked everyone in this series for America 250, but as America turns to 50, is there something you hope America remembers?
Um, the people that kicked down doors that we walked through, that laid down their lives or lost their leg or even not just the soldiers, but the family members that had to live with that they lost that guy,
Mhm.
that woman, that guy, that whoever,
Mhm.
you know, that's the big thing. That's what I always tell everybody is we walked through a door that Mr. LeSueur kicked down.
Mhm.
He had to fight his way through that door. We walked through it.
Mhm.
And that's it over those 250 years. And that's my biggest takeaway from all that.
Yeah.
The sacrifices that came before us so that we could say fuck on the air.
First, that amendment's important.
Yeah. And that's a little bit of humor about it, but that just encapsulates that feeling, the people that paved the way for us,
Absolutely.
kicked down doors that we walked through.
Yeah. What does patriotism mean to you? What is patriotism?
Um, it's taking one for the team, sacrificing so that others might be able to do this. Uh, in the name of those others. I mean, it's in our oath.
Mhm.
We serve the people and the Constitution of the United States of America. I don't care who's in the White House or whatever. That's who I work for. I don't fight the guy in front of me. I fight for the people behind me.
Mm.
That's what patriotism is.
Yeah. That's a good answer. What makes a community worth fighting for?
I think everything that Klamath County represents. It's just you have people here they have a natural bond to each other. We fight amongst ourselves, but it's just like I see the faces of my people at Klamath County where I used to work. Uh, Kelly Minty, all those people, I see them. That's what makes them worth fighting for. When I see them, Heather Harter, when I see you doing things for the community that may require some sacrifice from you, when I see the public officials laying down plans and stuff for the future that isn't maybe not wouldn't even directly affect them in their lifetime, when I see them laying down plans for the future, it inspires me and it says that is worth fighting for.
Mhm.
That type of commitment, that type of direct action, of courage of conviction is what inspires me to serve my country and make this community worth fighting for, because we're all one big community. It's all local.
Yeah.
The whole of America is.
I love that. Thank you so much for your time today,
Thank you
Darrell.
for yours.
Yeah, and thank you for your service.
Yeah, well, thank you for your support.
Yeah, and thank you to our producer, 42 Films.